What's up? It's your girl, Miss Becky, and I'm super excited to have you here on the Power of Agreement. Guys, I have something juicy in store for you today. I have the honor to have Dr. Edwards here with us today. Dr. Kimberly Edwards is here with us today. She is a mother of five, a grandmother of 12. She has her honorary doctor's degree in philosophy, y'all. She has some juice to tell us, not just that good stuff that looks good on paper, but she has some things that she has went through in life, and she has fought to just get to that next level and keep that positive mindset and not give up. A lot of us, sometimes we go through things and we might give up, but this lady right here, she didn't give up. I mean, she fought to the top, and her story just blew me away. And I just said, I have to have her on the Power of Agreement. I have to have her here. So she said yes, and I'm super excited to introduce Dr. Kimberly Edwards. How you doing, Queen? How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you today, Rebecca?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited
Excellent.
to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
So we are totally happy to have you here. And I just want you to just give the people a little introduction about yourself. Let them know who you are. Outside of, we see your name, we know you're Dr. Kimberly, but who are you outside of that?
Well, you know what? I'm just so grateful and honored to have the opportunity to be on the Power of Agreement. It's just so powerful. It's got so much volume. It speaks volume, Power of Agreement. And so thank you so much for, asking me to come and be a part of your show. I'll share with you just a little bit about myself. I'm married to Darnell Edwards. We've been married now for 17 years. We have a blended family of five children. Through those five children, our family has multiplied, and we have 12 beautiful grandbabies from the ages of 16 down to the age of 2. So we have a wide range of different grandkids that we often interact with. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love helping people. What I'm very proud of is being a Christian life coach, where I'm being able to help people overcome different objectives and help them in business and life and just in general with family and things like that. I have several degrees under my belt, and currently working on my doctorate of education. So I live a very busy lifestyle. I love to have fun. I bake. Those are some of the things that I love to do. I love to have fun. I even did a TikTok today dancing. I said it was like a flashback of being in a club back in the day, just to bring a little humor for the day, because I think that we need to always break that day up and have a little fun.
Exactly.
I love to bake. I love traveling. And most importantly, I love to be like a seed to sow into somebody else's life, to allow them to bring out their fullest potential. And just in general, I just love being that person that can be that example for others to follow. That's just a little bit about me.
Well, you're definitely
And I reside in North Carolina. I'm a North Carolinian,
North
born and raised
Carolina.
in New Jersey, but now I say, hey, I'm North Carolina bred, so I'm a little country girl too now. So
Okay, okay. How's the weather down there? Are y'all, because we cold up here in Michigan.
it's been pretty comfortable here the last couple of days, but it's raining. And I know you guys got snow today. Some certain parts of Michigan got snow.
We got like
But it's raining here today. So we haven't seen any snow yet for
okay.
the winter. So most of the times our winters are very mild. Yesterday was like 60 degrees.
Hmm.
So it's pretty comfortable. I think the lowest it's gotten is like 24, but it's been steady like between 50 and 70 degrees. So pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it sounds really, really good. We up here dealing with this cold, cold weather. Dealing with some cold, cold weather, but it's all good. It's all good. Miss Edwards, you have done so many different things. I've watching you on social media, and just the way that you handle your audience, the way that you speak life into people. I just admire that so much. And I wanted, when I learned your story and I learned about what you have been through and how you kept a smile like on your face the whole time, like how, I want to say, how did you hold yourself together? Or if you want to take us back to maybe when you first found out, like what was your mindset? How did you fight through that?
Yeah, so when I first found out I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2017, I'll just kind of like share just a little bit of, my process of getting to that point, because I think that you have to learn how to, um, not focus on the pain, but focus on the promise. And I had to really dig within me to do that. And so I had recently, God had kind of pushed me along. I was writing a book, and God had kind of pushed me along and saying that I needed to get that book published. And I didn't know why he was pushing me, because I had delayed it for so long. But I realized that he knew what my title of my book was going to be. And he knew I needed to eat my own words. And so this is a copy of my book. It's called Discover the Incredible in You. And I'll put a plug out there if you'd like a copy. I do have copies, and I can certainly autograph them for you. But the book, really talks a little bit about obstacles and things that I had to overcome from childhood on even through adult. And so I had just kind of put it on hold, and God was like, no, you need to finish this by your 50th birthday. My 50th birthday was August 24th, 2017. Well, I was just like, okay, God, I don't know what's going on. The week before that, I finally got it to the publishers to get published. And then it was going to be, released so that I could order copies and things like that. So I just decided that I was going to launch it on my birthday. Well, little did I know that I had went to the doctor before. My husband and I, we were going out to Aruba to celebrate my 50th birthday. And he, I was like, okay, I'm ready. We ordered my books, and that week I actually had a very sharp pain across my breast. And my husband was like, okay, well, you need to go get checked out. But it had happened twice before, and he had told me to go to the doctor, but I just kind of ignored it up until that point, and went to the doctor and got examined. And they said, definitely you've got something going on in your left breast, and even in your lymph nodes underneath your armpit, something's going on. And so I said, okay. So they said, you need to go get a mammogram. And so they scheduled it, and they scheduled it for the day before I was leaving to go to Aruba, which we left for Aruba on the 23rd. That mammogram was on the 22nd. And so I went through all of that, to say the least, went through that. Then they said, yes, indeed, there's something going there. It looks like cancer. We're going to, do a, what do they call it? A sonogram to kind of see a little bit closer. And they literally did. I don't think it's called a sonogram, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like I can't think of the name, but then,
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. That is it. Ultrasound. They did an ultrasound, and they said it's definitely cancer, but we got to confirm that it is by doing a biopsy. And I said, okay, do you need me to cancel my trip? I was very calm, and the lady was like, considering we just told you that you most likely have cancer,
right?
You're not stressed like most people. You're not crying. You're not. I'm like, no, because I know where my help comes from. Okay. I'm a woman of faith, and I just said, I know God is in control, and whatever his will is, it will be done. And I just trust him. And I've always trusted God in everything I do. And so I don't know if I'm sharing what you're looking for, but one of the things that I found is that to draw strength from God, even though sometimes things might be going on, you can't focus on the pain. You got to focus on the promise. And God has promises many things. And we got to know that, whatever his timing is for us, it's for us. We just got to be ready when that time comes. And so I knew that I did have some vulnerable times during that season of my life. And as most people would, because you're like wondering why your body has to go through so much to get to the other side. But sometimes if there's no pain, there's no gain. And that's why I said I have to focus on the promise and not the pain, because if I focus on the pain, that probably would have killed me. Right. It probably could have discouraged me. It probably could have made me give up. And because I focused on the promise, it allowed me to draw strength from God to say, hey, listen, I can get through this. Anything is possible. If I believe and I trust him, I can get through this. And so my smile was not fake. It was genuine. I know that my story was not for me. It was for other people. Right. Because even for me to share publicly on social media, that was something hard for me, because I'm a very private person. but I was obedient to God because he said, this is not for you. You will overcome, and you'll overcome many things. And that's one of the things that he shared with me when I chose my subtitle. He said I was the overcomer. And this was before I was diagnosed. So he already had told me I was going to overcome many things. And that's why I said, that's why I'm sharing this, because it is a part of my story. Because he made me eat my own words to discover the incredible in me. He made me eat my words, because I could tell you that most people that go through cancer is very challenging. It's not an easy ordeal. And I don't know why most people think that it is. It isn't. And it was very hard. But I could tell you that what helped me was the loving support of my husband. He was my caregiver, and he wrote a book too, The Caregiver. This talks about him going through all the process of taking care of me. But he was an intricate part of it. And I think a lot of times people fail to realize that having a caregiver, or someone, even if you're not married, having someone that you can be considering as a caregiver, somebody that's going to be with you on your appointments, somebody's going to be there so you can be vulnerable with, because you can't be vulnerable with everybody.
Right.
Because, that's the biggest thing that helped me stay strong, is to make sure that I protect my circle. Like, don't allow certain people in my circle. I can't share certain things with certain people because of their response. Most times when people hear cancer, they start to already try to kill you.
Right.
Like, and not intentionally. It's just they don't have the relationship with God. They don't have all they think about is all the stories and people dying of cancer and things like that.
Right.
So you have to, once you recognize those things, you have to really start to put some boundaries around who you're allowing in your circle during that time. And some people I had to cut off, to believe it or not, Rebecca, and it was out of love to cut them off until I got through on the other side of everything.
Was it hard for you to cut those people off? Like, was it, how sometimes God will take people out of our life and we want to go back and reach for them?
Yeah, because see, I'm a giver, and naturally, I'm a giver. When I say a giver, I am a giver of energy. I'm a giver of love. I love hard. And so it's very hard for me. It was very hard for me to release some people that were very close to me. But I knew that I had to release them during that time. And afterwards, I was able to talk about it and share with them why. And they still love me the same, and I love them the same. But it was just during that season, I had to release them. And it was very hard. I mean, I still took phone calls, but I learned how to end the conversation when it started to digress, if that makes sense. And so one of the things that I learned was to always make something positive, turn a negative into a positive. And a lot of people say, well, you can't turn a negative into a positive.
Right, they do.
And ideally, that is the truth, right? However, you can. And so I always would look at the ultimate end result. And that's why I said I focus on the promise and not the pain. And so even though I might have been going through some difficult times during my journey, I still focused on where my doctor was going to see me in 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever time frame, whatever treatment or whatever. I knew that my first couple of weeks in after doing chemo, I was going to be really down. Like, my body was going to be down. So certainly around that time, I was not allowing people in my space. I wouldn't let them come to see me. My husband wouldn't allow certain people come in the house. It was, we really make sure that we protected the circle. The spiritual realm is so important. And the Holy Spirit will let you know who needs to be in your space and who does not need to be in your space. And you don't need everybody in your space when you're going through something like that.
I hear trust. I hear a lot of trust. Like, you have to lean into and trust when he's consecrating you, right? And even through your storm, he was still holding your hand, and he led your husband to lead you. Right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, absolutely.
I love that. So to our viewers out there, if you're going through a situation like this, such as a terminal illness or illness that can be terminal, you want to be mindful of the people you keep in your circle. You want to be mindful of the people who speak into you. Remember,
Mhm.
everyone who loves you is not going to have that mindset to think outside of the box and think that, anything is possible, that you can't fight this. They gonna automatically go left. And we know it. We might have been at that point in our lives where we automatically heard cancer and thought bad things. But you're not the only one, Dr. Edwards, that I've come across recently with the same story, and the way they looked at it is very similar to the way that you are looking at it. So I really believe that is the key. That's the key right there.
It
That's the
is.
key.
Mm-hmm.
Like really focusing in on God and really focusing in on keeping the right people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
keeping the right people. So you got this. You said you were 50 years old when you were diagnosed with this. What happened in your life that helped build that muscle to trust God?
Well, as I was telling you, I've gone through so many different things in life that it was like nothing could stop me. I come from a single parent home. My book kind of talks about my journey in life. And through my journey in life, I just went through so many different things as a child that I had to overcome. I had to teach myself many things. I was the first in my family to go to college. And I've just always been faced with obstacles. And so I think that it made me stronger through the process. And then, of course, starting as a young child, going to a Bible-based church, even though I was saved when I got older, I
Right.
still was around strong, faith-driven women. My mother is Native American, and my father was Black. He's deceased. And so with the strong power of who my mom was and of course my father, it allowed me to see, draw strength from them. My mother, a single parent, like I said, my father was not involved in my life. I didn't really get to know him until I was like 19. And so I just always been faced with challenges all through my life. My mother, she worked 2 jobs. I watched her fight, to make sure that me and my sister were fed, we were clothed, we had shelter. And I saw some of the roughest side of that, of being a parent to 2 children, where, she wasn't able to provide for us to have food towards the end of the month and having to go on, government assistance, food stamps, federal government funding and things like that. I watched her struggle, but her struggle, she didn't allow the pain that she was going through. She focused on what was going to be the end result. So a lot of things that most people go through in life are learned through experiences. And through my mother's struggles, it allowed me to see that you can overcome. You're going to be faced with different obstacles in life, and I have been. And through those things, I always would start to remind myself of the struggles that my mother went through and how she overcame. And I drew my strength from that until I became a woman of faith. Okay. So I drew my strength from my mother. I drew my strength from my grandmother. And I had some very strong tower aunts that were very strong and powerful and did a lot of great things. And so I think that most people, and it's kind of like this in business. It's my old saying, is like, hold on to somebody else's belief until you believe yourself. So I had those strong towers in my life that I could hold on to, to see them being strong, working, professionals and exceeding in life and knowing that I could do it too. And so, and then the other thing is, as I started to build on my faith, because anybody that gets saved, it's not like automatic you grow strong in the Lord. You got to really work on that over the years. And I'm still working on, I'm not perfect. So I'm still working on my spiritual being, right? And so with that, you got to constantly do that. And you got to remind yourself to constantly do that. And I think that's what really equips you to be able to get through whatever it is that you want to. Will you be vulnerable? It hurt, absolutely. And it is okay to cry. Okay. Just make sure that you're vulnerable with the right person. And my vulnerable person, he knows my darkest secrets. He knows everything that I have ever gone through. My husband right here, that handsome man right there, he knows everything. And when I went, I cried, I talked through it, I got through it. My kids never saw me cry. They never saw me complain, not one time complain. And I was in a lot of pain. And I'm gonna tell you a story about my grandkids, my grandchildren, my oldest granddaughter and my oldest grandson came to see me, and they came to spend the weekend. Now I'm sitting, I had to shave all my hair because my hair fell out with the chemo and stuff. My husband did the same thing. And their mom said, well, how is Mimi? That's what they call me, Mimi. And she was like, oh, Mimi's fine. She's fine. She's being Mimi. But and seemed like, that's why I said most people think of cancer, they think that, man, it's but I did not want them to see that side. So I didn't act, but I just knew that I had to be upbeat and strong for the next person.
Right.
And sometimes you can't be selfish, even though you're going through yourself. A lot of times people get selfish and woe is me and all that. Whether you know it or not, it pulls you down when you are so engulfed with what it is that's going on with you. It weighs you down. It does not lift you up. And so my way of building my energy up, my spirit up, was to say, let me just be who I am and allow them to see the glory of what God is going to do. And so I would actually just continue to be Mimi. Like, you want to make some cookies, you want to make some brownies. Even though I was in pain, I still did it anyway. And they never knew that I was going through the pain that I was going through. And so I think that a lot of times you have to make sure that it's not a pretend, but you have to make sure that you're not only strong, right?
Right.
But you're strong in general in front of everybody. However, you do have to learn how to pull back, find that person that you can be vulnerable with, be vulnerable, let it go, and move on. And that is what I did. So what you saw was the real Dr. Kim, you saw the real Dr. Kim that wanted people to understand that they could overcome. But I also was transparent too in sharing through my journey that I had vulnerable times, that I had to, I think I even cried one time because my friend, she made this vision board, this love board. It was called a love board because I had a tack board where I had cards and notes and everything people had been mailing to me from all over the world. Okay. And it was getting too crowded. And she made that love board, her and her husband. And I started putting the cards on there. And I was just crying. I was full, like it was like a good cry. But I wanted everybody to know that God's greatest commandment is love. And acts of kindness. People don't have to be kind to you. You know, that's a gift. But God's greatest commandment is love, and loving your neighbor, loving the next person. And that's where it all comes out. That's why I said I draw my strength from God, because he was showing me the love that I needed to give, because it might have been inspiring you, but for me, what it was doing was helping those that was going through cancer, that was doing it behind the scenes, that wasn't public. They were messaging me, they were calling me, and they were saying, thank you for being so transparent, because I'm going through the same thing. You don't know it because I haven't posted anything about it, but you have helped me. And so that's why I said that a lot of times people don't realize, you know, there's so many other layers to it. And my story is not for me, it is for those that are out there. But yeah, that's it.
That's exactly.
I can keep going on and on. So
it's so good though. That's exactly it. I heard when you were speaking too. I read this book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And when you were speaking, you didn't even let your subconscious even get the thought of saying, I'm tired or I don't want to. You were still feeding yourself positivity. You were still saying like, no, I'm strong. No, I can. Yes, I can. Let's go make cookies. Let's go. I got to be strong. You know, even though you felt that on the inside, but you didn't let your subconscious give you anything other than the positive stuff. So that part is important too. The words that we speak to ourselves and what we invite inside of our minds, even if you're not saying it out loud, even thinking it, can be very bad. So we want to be mindful of that as well. Because Dr. Kim just told us, she was very conscious of the words that she was saying, very conscious of the words that she was saying. So Dr. Kim, I don't want to hold you too long, but I do want you, I feel like you gave a whole lot of good juicy stuff right here in the message that you did give. But if it's anybody out there that's going through, or maybe they didn't came out of it, but they still haven't got that groove yet, what would you give them? Because I'm like thanking God, you don't look nothing like what you've been through. You don't look like it. You're so vibrant. Every time I see you, you just vibrant. I just be like, how can I learn from her? How can I look, just get a lesson? And I thank God for you. And I hope that whoever listens to this message can really take something from it and be able to apply it at some place in their life. So if you can give some type of words of encouragement in our closing, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. I would say that, whatever you're going through, you can certainly come out of it. Um, you know, I think obstacles are placed in our lives to make us stronger. And it's always about creating a positive outcome from it. So we have to kind of learn how to take that and turn it around. And like she shared with you the affirmations, I am healed. I am an overcomer. I'm courageous. I'm a warrior. Whatever it is, the power of I am, it's something about that. What it does is it resonates right to the core of your body when you're saying that. If you even start doing affirmations, is very important. And what you're feeding yourself, your mind on a daily basis, is everything about the renewal of the mind. And the Bible says that we should be renewing our minds on a daily basis. And so I really encourage you, whether it's an audio, whether it's to find a good book to read, but the power of renewing your mind is so important. Because it does prepare you for the worst to come so that you can overcome. It's not that you're not going to be human, but you are going to be human.
Right.
But it does give you that extra strength that you can get through it. The last thing I would say is that make sure that your circle is tight. Even beyond what's going on in your life, make sure that your circle is tight. I'm very particular about my circle and who I allow to penetrate in. It doesn't mean that they're not somebody's not good enough to be in my circle. It's just certain people that I will not allow in my circle for a long period of time. Do I love every person that comes in my space? Absolutely, because I'm a child of God, and God's greatest commandment is to love one another. However, what I'm saying to you is that when you're sharing things with people, don't become a part of the Me Too. Okay, don't be part of the Me Too. You ever stood around the water cooler and people's like, girl, I'm tired. And then next thing you know, I'm tired too. It's the Me Too club. Don't become a part of the Me Too club. Instead saying, hey, listen, hey, let's walk for 30 minutes. Let's get our energy up, just kind of encourage that person instead of kind of going into that opposite mode of saying, you know what, Me Too, don't be a part of the Me Too club. And then, of course, y'all, I almost get on this preaching tip. So y'all forgive me. I'm just like a preacher. If I say 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. But anyway, just one more thing. I would say is that, you have to engage yourself in what it is that you want. You have to see it before you see it. And visualization is so important, not just in business, in your personal life, in your spiritual life. If you're married, in your marriage, visualization is so important. Whatever you're seeking is also seeking you. Whatever you see can happen. Guess what? It will happen. I want you to try this. Try saying, hey, like, look, I was literally in my kitchen and I started thinking that a cup was going to fall off the counter. And because I thought it, guess what happened? That cup fell off the counter. So be mindful of your thoughts and because it does become real. So your thoughts do become real. So feed your mind with what it is that you want the outcome to be and watch what happens. And it's truly the power of just really knowing that whatever you put out, it's going to come back to you. And that's it. That's all. And I wish you guys many blessings over your life. And whatever it is that you're seeking, it's also seeking you. And I pray that that two matches up together very soon. And what it is that you're wanting to accomplish: healing, finances, marriage, relationships, whatever it is, God has you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, Dr. Edwards, we are super excited that you blessed us with your presence, that you gave us some good gems, you dropped it down on us. If you could please lift your books up again, just so they can get another glimpse of those books, y'all. Discover the incredible in you and the caregiver, guys. We want to definitely, you definitely want to get these books so you can get more information about how Dr. Kim just fought her way through, how she did it, and how her husband was a support to her. So we're going to make sure that those links are available to you, that you have access to be able to get that, get those books. I know I'm going to give me a couple copies so I can read them, and I hope it can be a blessing to you as well. If you like this video, if you enjoyed this interview, go ahead and like and subscribe right down at the bottom. Like and subscribe, turn on the notifications, because we're going to have more stories that's going to be coming your way about the power of agreement, the power of choosing, making a choice to go higher instead of lower, making a choice to not give in to what circumstances say or statistics say, but just knowing that you can fight and you can give it your all. And if it's God's will, you shall overcome. And that's the bottom line. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and tune in next week for another episode of The Power of Agreement. Thank you. Let's see. How do I, oh, there it goes.